have a problem. I'm a big fan of cinema, and quite frankly, there is something that needs to be dealt with. There's a certain film that has been harshly criticized and has received a poor reputation that is completely unfair. I'm also quite passionate about this particular movie, and those that know me know that I am as well. So I figured, might as well make a video on this. And I'm talking about none other than the 2007 American classic comedy film, Hot Rod. And so in this video, I'm going to explain 1, why Hot Rod is underrated, and 2, why you should appreciate it more. First of all, the cinema critics of Hot Rod are extremely harsh. As of filming this in May of 2022, Hot Rod has received a measly 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. On Metacritic, it has a rating score of 43 out of 100. Okay, so that's the cinema critics, and they're professionals, and they get paid to do that. However, what does the general population think about this movie? Well, let's take a look. I went onto YouTube and I typed in, why Hot Rod is a good movie, and only 2 results came up. I also went onto Google and I typed in, is Hot Rod a good movie? And what came up at the very top under imdb.com is this, and I quote, Hot Rod is a daft but enjoyable film. Keep your expectations low, have a good time with the stupid stunts in the middle of the road, soft rock soundtrack. What? That is just disrespectful. Okay, so let's forget about people's opinions. What does the money say? Because money always talks. If we look at Hot Rod's Wikipedia page, we see that this film had a budget of $25 million, and yet it only brought in $14.4 million at the box office. That means they lost money making this film. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, Colt, why are you telling me this? Doesn't that mean that Hot Rod really is a bad movie because everything is saying so? Absolutely not. On the contrary. And so right now, I'm going to prove to you 5 reasons why Hot Rod is actually a great movie. Reason number 1 is the plot. Most of Hot Rod's criticism comes with its randomness and lack of structure. However, Hot Rod actually follows a perfect plot line that we all learn in English class back in high school. The plot line that we all learn about of what defines a good story is broken up into 6 parts as seen in this picture. First, we have the exposition, then we have the conflict, then we have the rising action, followed by the climax of the story, then we have the falling action, and then finally the resolution of the story. Hot Rod actually has one of the strongest expositions I've ever seen in any cinematic film. The very first scene of the movie, which is this.
Devin, did we reinforce the takeoff ramp? No, we didn't have time. Oh.
We immediately know what this movie is going to be about. And fun fact, the stuntman who did that scene actually broke his leg and they kept it in the movie. So, the exposition clearly tells us that we have the main character named Rod Kimball, and he is an amateur stuntman who seeks to do unsafe and underprepared stunts with his group of friends. Next, we have the conflict. Frank, who is Rod's stepfather, is in dire need of a heart transplant surgery, or else he's going to die, and the family does not have the funds to support that. And this is of a major concern to Rod because he needs to prove his manhood to his stepfather by beating him up.
You're wrong, Frank. I'm not a kid. I'm a man. I am gonna get you better, and then I'm gonna beat you to death!
After the conflict, we have the rising action, and this takes up a majority of this movie. After hearing about Frank's possible death, Rod then goes into the forest and punches out his rage. Takes a big tumble down the hill. And after this precarious fall, an act of God is bestowed upon Rod Kimball, and it shows him exactly what he needs to do to raise the funds to save Frank's life in order to beat Frank up to prove that he is a man. Rod is going to jump 15 buses, just one more than Evel Knievel, and so he needs to start training now. Some of Rod's training includes lung capacity,
Yeah, fine, Maggie. Put it on the table.
speed management, shock absorption, blast protection, and of course,
Let's party.
during Rod's training, his stepbrother Kevin recorded all of the footage of what they did, and he compiled it into a video, which they would then premiere in a local hometown theater to help raise funds for Frank's heart surgery. At the premiere, Rod got upset because he realized that people were laughing at him instead of with him. Rod then quits the team, and the rest of the team, during Rod's retirement, convince him to go and make amends with Kevin. The rising action ends with Rod making amends with Kevin, and Kevin actually shows him that his video has gone viral on the internet, and the local AM radio station has decided to sponsor the event with all of the proceeds going towards Frank's heart transplant. The climax of the movie happens when Rod attempts to jump 15 buses. Rod clears it, but he almost dies in the process. And lastly, the falling action and the resolution are really one and the same, so I'm just going to lump them together. What happens is Frank is healed, and Rod has a last fight with Frank at the end of the movie, and he defeats Frank, and he is therefore now proven himself to be a man. There you have it. We literally walked through the entire plot of Hot Rod, and I hope that you now see that Hot Rod follows it to a T of what makes a good story. Okay, the next 4 parts are going to go fairly quickly in comparison, so thank you for watching this far, and let's get right into it. Next reason why Hot Rod is good is because of the humor. This is typically the reason why people do not like this movie, and it kind of is understandable. Not everybody's a fan of slapstick humor, and you can't get around that. However, for those of us that do like it, this movie is hilarious. And even if you don't like the humor, then you can appreciate the fact that the humor specifically is designed to let you know that the movie is not to be taken seriously in pretty much any way. I kid you not, throughout the entire movie, every single scene is short, to the point, and has a very funny punchline, and has a very specific direction in which it propels the story of the film as well. To compare it to modern day terms, pretty much every scene is like a YouTube short or a TikTok video. Every scene is quotable, and that is the beauty of this movie. The third reason why this movie is actually really great is because of the love story. That's right, there's an underlying Hallmark movie within this movie. You have the classic friends from childhood, the main character is doing their own thing, and there's some conflicts that arise between the two as the movie goes along, and you get to see the chemistry kind of build up throughout the entire film, and then you get your storybook ending of he gets the girl. This actually works really well because of the stark contrast between Hot Rod as the goofy but good guy and Jonathan, played by Will Arnett, as the complete jerk and bad guy of the film. In the end, the good guy always wins. And that's exactly how Hallmark has won the hearts of millions and millions of people and also earned billions and billions of dollars. And hey, guess what? It works. And that is exactly why the love story adds to the value of Hot Rod. Reason number 4 is the production of the movie. This movie was filmed in 2006 and released in 2007, but the cool thing about this film is that there is a bunch of themes and stylistic aspects from the 1980s integrated all throughout this film. First of all, the houses look like they're made from the 1980s, and you can see that from scenes in Rod's home house. You also see it when they go to their usual fast food picnic table spot. I mean, this thing just screams 80s, right? And lastly, we have the music or soundtrack from this movie, which largely consists of the rock band from the 80s, Europe. And I don't think this is a mistake at all. In fact, many people revere the 80s. They love it. They adore it. It's vintage. It's cool. Everybody loves the 80s. It has a special place in everyone's heart, right? And so I believe that the intentionality by the producers and set creators of making it appear like it's partially from the 80s, yet also from the early 2000s, is what makes this thing so cool. It's so relatable, it's kind of nostalgic in a lot of ways to many of us. And reason number 5, the final one, and this is actually pretty cool. I know I said not to take anything from this movie seriously, but this you can. Hot Rod is a symbol to follow your dreams. Many people have ideologies and mindsets that say, don't pursue your dreams, or those dreams are unattainable, or those dreams are unrealistic, or what have you. However, Rod Kimball is a perfect example of someone who says, forget that. I'm going to not listen to everyone else's opinions, but I'm going to follow my own dreams. In fact, the actual punchline of the movie, where you feel, oh, that's a deep life lesson, and that cuts really deep to the heart. It comes from Denise, who is Rod's love interest. Denise says, and I quote, "Ever since we were kids, you've always done exactly what you wanted to do. And everybody else just grew up and got boring and sold out. But you stayed exactly the same. Who cares what anyone else thinks?" Honestly, those are incredible words that we all need to hear. So what more can I say about this part? A film that promotes pursuing your passions and your dreams and ignoring the negative comments and influences in your life? That's a win for me, and that's a win for everybody. So in conclusion, it is safe to say that Hot Rod is an underappreciated hero. So if anything, I hope that at the end of this video you learned at least a couple things. 1, to not take life too seriously. It is too short for that. 2, to laugh a little bit, especially if it's humor that you like. For example, me, I love slapstick humor, and so I really enjoyed this film because it had a lot of that, and I found the humor really applicable to my sense of humor as well. And 3, to follow and pursue your dreams just like Hot Rod. To you who is watching, thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. I hope you really got something out of it, and I hope you laughed a little bit. If you could make sure to go ahead and do 2 things for me. 1, go ahead and like this video, and 2, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is the best way that you could support me, especially as I begin my YouTube journey. If you also want to go ahead and comment down below, let me know how I did in my first YouTube video, or also let me know what kind of content you would like to see me make in the future too. Oh, and one more thing. I have a bunch of social media pages, so I would love for you to go ahead and follow me there, and I would love for you to be a part of my community going forward. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you until next time.